Hi, welcome to Masterclass number 3 of 28 Days to a Healthy You. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, 28 Days to a Healthy You, Masterclass number 3. Hopefully you've had a good time working with your app and working on your eating plan and program, and you're enjoying the recipes. So this week we're going to talk about what's going well, which we do every week. We're going to zip through the ground rules. We'll go over your obstacles, moving too fast, empowering questions, mindfulness and neuro-associations, self-sabotage, movement, the perfect plate, caffeine, and then we'll put together some action steps, cover your ahas and appreciations. So we have quite a bit to cover from a coaching perspective for this week. So what's going well? Each week we start with what's going well, and it's just simply time for you to put down on paper something that you're proud of doing and that you accomplished in the last 7 days, no matter how small the effort. It doesn't have to be anything big, fancy, or earth-shattering. These act as a motivator to help us to propel forward and want to be motivated to accomplish new goals or current goals. I want your what's going well to be used only in the positive, no limiting factors, or no negative self-talk. Once you get done, ask yourself, does it feel good to acknowledge what's going well? And answer that as well. So stop the masterclass and go ahead and write that down. Okay, so you're back. The ground rules. Well, coaching will let you become the person you want to be. Our goal in these master classes is to help you close the gap from where you are today to where you want to be. We will help by providing you tools to allow yourself to hold yourself accountable. We'll point out your limiting powers and push you outside your comfort zone. I would like for you to continue to listen to your daily hypnosis and your motivational speaker. Here we go. Grab your paper and pencil if you don't have it yet. Did you have challenges or obstacles get in your way this past week? We talked about this last week. So your action steps last week were to put yourself a top priority. Were you able to do that? Did you hold yourself there for 7 days? How did you do with understanding which foods gave you energy, brought high energy? It's really easy to figure out which foods have low energy or take energy away from us. Did you make a high foods energy list? If you didn't, let's make sure you do that this week and keep adding to that list. It's always good to have it written down when you're first starting this process so that it's just very simple going, oh, what did make me feel good? I think I'll make more of that. Did you bring up your awareness on your hunger and fullness throughout the week? Did you do check-ins? Did you pay attention? Did you start eating at a 2, right? Or start planning at a 2, excuse me, and eat at a 5 and be done when you were at 7? Did you find any times that you let yourself get to that 10? How did your chewing exercises go? Did you have fun? Hope so. It's a silly exercise, but it's fun. If you did all those things and it all worked out, then congratulations, great job. If you didn't get them done, then ask yourself the questions below. What stopped you? What steps can you put in place for the next 7 days to make these things happen? And always remember that sometimes we have to let go of old habits in order to move forward. And some of those older habits, they're very comforting. They're coping mechanisms for us. So it can be difficult. So keep going back through the questions on anything you're struggling with and ask, what is slowing you down? What is standing in your way or stopping you from following through right now? Okay? So what needs to change? Hate it when that happens. So moving too fast, just like that just happened. So let's talk about moving too fast. So taking small steps, what needs to be pushed out of the way in order for you to be successful? A lot of times it's simply taking smaller steps. We bite off a little too much. So I want you to review. If you're having any struggles, then maybe you need to take a smaller step. Maybe some of these action steps that I'm giving you are moving you too quickly down the road. That's fine. Just push them out and you can do them next week or the week after. Because just because we've designed this with 4 master classes does not mean you cannot do them over an 8-week time period and then divide the action steps out each week. Okay? So slow and steady action forward. What one action can you take each day to move forward? You don't have to have 847 actions. Sometimes we want those big results, and we imagine that pushing ourselves as far and as fast as we can go. And oftentimes, that just sets us up for failure, okay? It turns out moving slow and steady is more effective. It's often a lot more effective and will help you to get where you want to go and get those results. So ask yourself, write this one down, what is the minimum follow through that you can pleasurably commit to this week that would have you feel really, really good about yourself? Stop the masterclass and let's answer what needs to be pushed out in order for you to be successful. What one action can you take each day? And what is the minimum follow through that you can commit to this week in order to feel really good about your progress and yourself? Okay, I'll see you on the next slide. Okay, ask yourself empowering questions daily. So this is how we learn to focus our mind. What we focus on causes our emotions and how we feel. Right? If we focus on being depressed, then we probably could get all slumpy and be depressed. If we focus on being unhappy and bringing tears to our eyes, then we probably can make that happen. So in life, we get what we're focused on. If we focus on asking ourselves good questions that give us power and help propel us forward, then we will get a good result. So the quality of your life comes down to the quality of the questions that you ask yourself on a daily basis. Ask yourself the right questions, make that habit. Do not use your limiting powers, right? You don't want the limiting powers to rear their ugly heads. Always ask yourself empowering questions. What went well? What is something that is important to me? Control your destiny. Create your own power. Don't wait for somebody else to come along and give you this permission to do anything. You create your own power. Change your focus by using questions that would change the way you feel about something and give you your power. So, what is great in your life right now? Write that one down. Oh, wait. What is great in your life right now? How can you feel great about it if you wanted to? Right? And what is good about that? Sometimes people will say, well, I don't have anything great in my life right now. You've got something that you could feel great about. So what could you feel great about if you chose to? Okay, and how could you feel great about that if you wanted to? So ask yourself empowering questions daily and challenge your mind to focus on these questions. Having these questions by your bedside and adding them to your lists in the morning to take a look at, or journaling about these questions at night. What was great in my life today? And journaling about them does nothing but add to your focus and give you power. It's a positive way to move forward towards achieving your goals. And I challenge you to use it. So, what I would like for you to do is ask yourself empowering questions daily, each morning for the next 30 days. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to design 5 questions that bring you power. So you're going to reach inside you and think, what brings you power? Your power will allow you to grow and be more decisive It will help you to feel better about your future. And you can control your state by asking yourself questions that put you in a happy state or a healthy state, the state that you're trying to build. So 5 questions that give you a reason to feel great. I've put some down here and I'll go over them. These are not necessarily ones that you have to use, but this will get you thinking in the direction. Every morning when you wake up, you can ask yourself, what am I grateful for? How does that make me feel? What am I most proud about for yesterday? Well, why am I proud about it? Who do I love in my life right now? And how does that make me feel? Does that make me feel good? Do I feel warm inside when I think about the people that I love? What can I do today to affect positive change on someone's life? No matter how small it is. And how will that make me feel? And what am I happy about today or for today? I might have something that's coming up that I'm excited about. I'm happy about it, or it'll be just going to be a nice day. Why does this make me happy? So these 5 questions are ones that I've used. I wake up in the morning. I don't turn on the television. I don't look at my phone. I have these questions laying by the bedside, and I turn on the light and I read through them. And I make myself stop and spend time to answer them truthfully. I don't let it be a pat answer. And when I find my mind saying the same pat answer, then I stop and I rephrase the question in order to force my mind to have to give me a different answer and to think about something that truly does make me feel grateful, something new, different, another thing that makes me feel grateful. Okay? Simple as that. So stop the masterclass, and I want you to design your own 5 questions and then come back. Okay, so let's talk about mindfulness, or just being and creating joy. So we can train ourselves to be at our best every day through neuro-associative conditioning. So we can change our lifestyle by conditioning ourselves daily and learning to be. And I don't know if you know what I mean by be. Well, let's see. We'll kind of talk it through, and hopefully you will. Neuro-associative conditioning is used to interrupt your beliefs that limit you and allow you to create new feelings of contentment and joy. We can start by learning to reduce our stress levels and just be each day in order to allow contentment and joy into our lives. And another way to state that is learning to be more mindful of the world and our day today, not what's happening tomorrow and what happened yesterday. So when I was growing up in my family, when someone walked by and said, "What are you doing?" the answer was being. It was an interesting answer. Not that everybody knew how to just be. It meant that you were in a peaceful, relaxed state that had no pressure or stress. And it was a time for contentment to be with yourself and just be. So it was happiness. As little kids, we didn't know that the pleasure of being was putting us in this relaxed state, but we had been taught to utilize and learn to be. By learning to be, this activates the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system, and it releases the happiness hormones like the dopamine and the serotonin and oxytocin. Oh, I said that wrong. These happiness hormones allow us to create positive neuroassociations between ourselves, our experiences, and our emotions. So learning to be activates the parasympathetic branch in the nervous system, and it releases happiness hormones. So these are links that are created between what we experience and the emotions that we connect with them. So that also means you can have positive neuroassociations or negative neuroassociations. So positive associations have emotions attached to them like happiness, success, joy, inner peace. A positive neuroassociation for me is sitting on the couch with a book and a blanket. And that's what we did as children when we were just being. And that meant if you climbed up with your blanket and your book and were all set up with your whatever, your munchies and your drink, and you were ready to go, nobody else in the family would come bother you. That was your time to just be and sit and relax and be happy. And you may or may not actually read the book. It was just time for you. So we all learned to do that as a family, and we tended to do that on Sundays. Simply on Sunday afternoons, we would smell the food cooking in the kitchen, and everybody in the house would be sitting someplace with a book and a blanket, happy, calm, and we were learning how to be. Negative associations. Let's see. Let me give you one of those. So a negative association have a negative emotions attached to them, right? Like sadness, failure, embarrassment, guilt. Well, I had mine as a child was reading out loud. It was very difficult for me. Reading out loud it made me feel embarrassed. I felt like people were staring at me. I was afraid that I would do it wrong. I wouldn't be fast enough. I wouldn't be able to speak the word properly. I would see a new word and not be able to pronounce it. So it's a very stressful process. And that particular process took me years to get over. So you have to learn how to relink your negative associations so that you can take that negative emotion that those are causing you to experience and make it a positive emotion. So learning to relink a negative association, you must attach positive association to them. So for me, putting myself in that relaxed state and learning to just be, which is being mindful, tuned into your world, will allow you to place yourself in a calm, happy, relaxed state, right? And then you can start your relinking process. So focus on being mindful and figuring out what do you have negative associations attached to, and how can you calmly set and figure out where to start the relinking process. For me, I changed the reading issue out loud simply as I got older and I had stepchildren to read books to. I then had the enjoyment that I wanted to experience reading with them. I wanted them to experience the stories because reading and being inside of a story had been such a wonderful gift that was given to me as a child. So I, in turn, wanted to give it to them. So therefore, I finally crushed being able to read out loud, right? So let's work on some steps for using neuro-associations to increase joy and happiness in your life. So grab a paper and pen, because I'm going to want you to start by, sometimes it's easier to find positive ones. So we're going to start by identifying 5 positive neuro-associations that have changed your life, and then write them down. Simply mine was learning to be on a Sunday afternoon with a book and a blanket on the couch. That was a very positive, simple way to learn to calm down, enjoy myself, enjoy my life. It was perfect, right? So 5 of those, write down that, and write down the positive emotional state associated with the action, okay? Then the next step is going to be identify 5 negative associations that are limiting your life, such as reading out loud. That limited my life for years. I was afraid of that. Find some that obviously are current. I'm giving you ones that are past, that you would like to change. Think about what negative associations are limiting your life. Do you have a negative association to making lots of money? Do you somehow think or were taught that, well, money doesn't grow on trees, and so therefore you weren't ever going to be able to have money? So you have a negative association to having lots of money. So you need to break that. Well, maybe money does grow on trees. Maybe all those little leaves are trees, or the seeds that come from the tree can be planted and grown, and you now just made it a bunch of money. You're very abundant. So what is, and that actually works really well for me personally, but what are 5 negative associations that are currently limiting your life that you would like to change? Okay. And then are you using negative or limiting self-talk? Well, I can't do that. I didn't go to college. Well, I can't do that. I'm not trained in it. Okay. Because we need to work on changing that. I can't join that bike race because I haven't ridden a bike in 10 years. Well, let's work on changing that. So we have negative associations to exercise because you don't want people to see you in your outfit because you don't, whatever you're attaching it to. So what do you have negative associations that are giving you negative emotions towards something that is limiting your life? And write those down, 5 of them that you want to change. So now you're going to create your reason for change. On each one of them, you're going to go through and you're going to find some kind of leverage that will cause you to act now and start changing. And the action just needs to be a small one. Okay? What will you not get to do in your life if you don't change it? So if you never change your attitude towards exercise or towards maybe eating healthier, then what will you not get to do in your life if you don't change? How is that going to affect your life in the future? How does it affect your life today? How does it affect your family, your loved ones, the things that you want to do, your hopes and your dreams? So go through that whole process so that you can get leverage on yourself on how to change these and then work to add and interrupt your limiting pattern, right? So you're going to condition yourself to focus on something else, something that brings you happiness, joy, or let you be. Get back to mindfulness. Create new associations for negative associations you want to change by creating a new experience that brings you joy and peace along with the happiness hormones that you're building. So meditate or be to enforce your new associations daily so that you can relink positive attitudes, emotions, and build habits to change the patterns, okay? So you've got 5 positive, 5 negative. What are your reasons for changing? What are you going to use as an anchor or pattern interrupter in order to start changing the negative association into a positive association? And do you have something in your life today that you can use to link them all to, such as being, like I have in my life? Remember, your past does not equal your future, okay? So stop the masterclass now. Do 5 positives and 5 negatives. Okay, so let's review. We're going to change subjects. How we sabotage our health with food. Remember when we talked about in our past program that something else always seems more important, right? Simply go back to reminding yourself that self-sabotage happens when something else always gets in the way. Something else always seems more important. Simply remember, when you're on a flight, what does the flight attendant tell you to do? She tells you to put your oxygen mask on first and then place an oxygen mask on the child. What would happen if you did it the other way around? If you passed out, then you wouldn't be able to put it on the child. So taking care of yourself is very important. Do not let other things get in the way of your health and sabotaging what you're doing, okay? Now, no excuses. Don't give yourself an excuse to start later because somebody else's needs are more important than yours, right? Do you tell yourself you're too busy and then you push you down to the bottom? You are never a top priority. Do you never give yourself any me time because everybody else seems to be more important and more deserving? Okay. Does everything else take precedence? Sabotage number 2, desiring acceptance, good or bad. Do you desire acceptance when you do things that you didn't want to do in order not to let other people down? Like after dinner, everybody goes out for a cigarette. We talked about that, right? Like after dinner, everybody gets a dessert. So you get a dessert to go along with them. Or you go to dinner at your Aunt Mabel's and she makes your favorite meal. But it's not a good meal and you no longer want that meal to be part of your life. But you still feel obligated to have, not only eat it, but to have seconds. That's called desiring acceptance, good or bad. But even though it's bad for you, you went ahead and did it because you didn't want to let her down. Well, you probably could have told her and she would have been okay with it. Because she wants you to be healthy and happy, right? So it's time to let go of desire and acceptance, good or bad. Thank the part of you that's protected you and ask, what am I wanting to belong to or keep by not letting go, right? By going ahead and just following with desiring that acceptance. You don't need to do it. So the last one, I've been good, so I deserve, and I left the word cigarette on this page. Well, thankfully, all of you are cigarette smokers or non-smokers today. So do you find yourself saying, I've been good, so I deserve a slice of cake? I've been good, so I deserve an ice cream cone, right? That's the punish reward system. We punish ourselves for bad behavior. So now we feel bad. I've been good, so I deserve a slice of cake. Well, then I beat myself up because I have a slice of cake. It really doesn't work. Self-sabotage shows up in many ways. We do it because we're afraid to change so much that we don't want to grow apart from whatever it is, that behavior that we have, people that we love. Sometimes we self-sabotage. I've been good, so I deserve, simply because things are going too good and you need to change it. Your body's freaking out and your body's like, oh no, you're getting way too skinny here. You're looking mighty good. And, you know, for whatever reason, it wants you to not be that way because it's not used to being that way. It wants to go back to what it considers normal. So we'll come up with an excuse to get ourselves back in balance. So the main thing with self-sabotage is remembering that there are 3 different forms of it, that we probably use all 3 of them, and to recognize when it's happening. So putting the conditions in place for positive choice, the tools for positive choice. You have to think about your high-risk situations that you're going to run into this week with regards to food situations and what you're going to do about it. Are you going to pre-plan all your meals, have all your food ready in the morning so that you're not tired at night making poor decisions by going ahead and chopping up all the vegetables and having it all lined up? That's so much easier. It takes the stress off of us, okay? We need to ask ourselves questions such as, what will having this do for you? If you are, looking at that slice of cake, is that going to help you? What will not having that do for you? Well, probably help you get closer to your goal, will it not? And then what are all the good reasons for getting what you want? And then what are all the good reasons for not getting what you want? So fill in what needs to be in place is blank. Okay, and what is the benefit? How does it make you feel? And how does it benefit other people in your life? Stop the masterclass and answer the questions above. So let's talk about movement. This one's new and different. It's time to add some movement into your life. A list of inspiring movement options such as, fitness and energies. Let's go backwards for a second. Let's talk about movement. What movement feels right for you? It's time to create a movement menu. There's all kinds of options out there. Biking, roller skating, trampoline, wood chopping, hiking, swimming, skateboarding, tennis, basketball, playing with the kids, frisbee, martial arts, stair hopping, cleaning. Ooh, that one I probably wouldn't pick for exercise, but you could. Skiing, snowboarding, weightlifting, right? You have all kinds of options. So what I would like you to do is to create a list and place it where you can see it of additional movement that you'd like to add into your life, whether that is taking a walk once a week, taking a walk once a day, walking up and down the stairs to get some additional exercise while you're in the house, taking the stairs when you're at work, right? Parking further out when you go to the grocery, or parking further out when you go to work. How are you going to add some extra movement into your life? Joining a dance class, going to the health club once a week, going to yoga. But I want you to make a list of all the things that you could add that is pleasurable, that you would enjoy doing. Okay, and put that, hang it on the refrigerator. It doesn't matter how long it takes to do these things. They can just be 5 minutes. It's just about adding movement into your schedule each day. Ultimately, you'll build that up to 30 minutes a day. But right now, it's just about adding it, okay? So ask yourself questions when you're creating this movement. What movement would you like to add to your list? Think outside the box. You know, ballroom dancing. What movement did you like to do as a kid? You know, that maybe you want to do again now, like roller skating. What movement would be fun to do with others? Do you like to go on a big long walk? Do you like to go hiking, swimming, biking? What is something you've never tried that you always wanted to? Did you always want to go skiing? No, maybe it's time. Or did you always want to learn how to dance ballet or belly dance? Whatever it may be. You can do that. It's time to start trying new things. No matter how old you are, we always need to try new things. So create that list and hang it on the refrigerator. So let's talk about food. We haven't talked about food this week. It's on your list every day when you're working on your program, but we haven't talked about food. Let's talk about how to create that perfect plate. So here's your plate. Let's see. Here's your plate. Your food actually should go in this part right here, not flopping out all over the edges. So think about this part. And we're going to divide your plate into 3 sections. You've got a third of green vegetables, a third of a high quality protein, and a third of a nutrient dense starchy vegetable or grain. And then 1 to 3 tablespoons of high quality fat. And that fat could be used to prepare the other food. So you may not have to add it to the plate if it's already being used to prepare the other foods, okay? But this should be part of each one of your plates every day. Very simple, so easy to divide that plate up. You're gonna do, the hardest part that people do is the starchy vegetable. Because you can get your carbs from broccoli. So you could have leafy vegetables here and broccoli and cauliflower here, and actually never have a potato or a rice or a noodle, and still get all the nutrients that you need. You'll be less heavy, right? And it'll be more high energy foods when you do that. Lastly, we're going to touch on caffeine. For some people, this is not an issue at all. For others, you may need to start trying to break this habit, or at least pay attention to this habit, because caffeine can mask the natural rhythms, providing you a fake sense of energy. So I want you to start paying attention to, do you have mood swings or energy dips, and exploring your relationship with caffeine and how that is with regards to these mood swings or energy dips, because it's probably time to resolve those issues. It doesn't mean never having caffeine again. However, it does mean experimenting with the amount and the time that you're drinking it, so that you can get to your true energy. Where is your true energy level versus all of this fake energy that you're getting by adding in these additional caffeine, Okay. Once you know where your energy is with it, then you can choose to add some caffeine back into your diet or not. You may choose not to add it back in. It would be better, but it's best if you get rid of that habit, because you may, if you're a heavy coffee drinker or tea drinker, it truly could be just down to a habit that you're so used to that fake energy that you'll automatically go and get that. And that habit it's probably time to break. So let's talk about your action steps for the week. I want you to continue with all your previous action steps. Hold yourself accountable. But you work on asking yourself empowering questions this week. Where's your focus? Become hyper aware of any temptation to derail or sabotage yourself. Add some movement into your life. Create your perfect plate. Pay attention to what's going on with your caffeine levels. Are you getting moody? Do you need to start adjusting those? And make sure you're still doing your hypnosis on a daily basis. Ahas. What insights have you gained today? What appreciations have you discovered? I will see you next week. Have fun. I hope you're enjoying your program.